Hello and welcome back to my channel, Checks Capture Chess. Today's video is going to be episode 83 of the chess guide. It's going to be an example game between Karpov and Spassky, two known greats, so this will be quite a good one. And as you can see on the right hand side of your screen, there is a three great moves for Karpov to Spassky's one. And I think the more important thing, 96.9% accuracy compared to 84.5%, and I think we'll be seeing that shortly. No blunders and no misses as well, which is quite good. So it starts off e4, and now we get the Sicilian. And after knight f3, e6, and d4, we get into the classic known Sicilian here. Knight goes to f6, the knight comes to c3. Then we get d6, and then move g4, a very aggressive move, aggressive approach to this. h4, and rook g1, all book moves so far. And after bishop goes to b5, obviously put a pin. Most known move here will be bishop d7. Then a few captures. And now that is the last book move. 11 moves in. That is quite crazy that these grandmasters would get 11 moves worth of these. And then his next move is bishop e3. Very nice move, just stops everything realistically. Bishop e7, obviously looking to castle maybe. Queen d2, very nice move in my opinion, looking to go in this sort of way. Now, first mistake, bishop takes h4. I think this makes this quite the wavered piece. I feel like now it either has to take a bit of time to go back, which it does. It just feels like it wastes a few moves. Now, knight f5 gets rid of the, maybe not the best advantage. He could add more, I feel like. Now after this capture, it isolates, gets double pawned. Not the best here for Karpov. And after a6, obviously try and chase it away. There's a capture here. Now this capture is okay. My only guess is that these two queens, I mean obviously it can't go there right now, but this is quite a deadly diagonal, especially with the bishop there. So bishop c5, as we say, rook goes to b8, and the move b4, very aggressive, because if we have a move like a5 here, you could probably respond, you can respond even weirder with this. That's crazy. So anyway, what do we get? We get b4 and then rook b5 here. Not the best move. I don't think it's because it doesn't really do anything. And after rook e1 check, king moves to d7. You get c4. This move, as we said, I actually saw it just a minute ago. It was quite a crazy move. They do find it, and this is actually even better because we're attacking this. Rook has to move, and we're attacking this for check. So after this capture, they go bishop g5, thinking that they've got a pin on the queen and the king, but we can play obviously quite the obvious move, f4, gains a bit of a tempo as well, pushing these pawns, and it moves this bishop away. Although it actually goes queen to f6, a very nice move, because if you were to take here, you actually have the move here, queen a1, and you're actually losing here. The reason is that just after a few moves here, you're actually going to be able to get quite the comeback here, as it has to come back down now, and you can win this. You can just keep going back and everything. So you couldn't do that. It's a very good move. Instead, we have capture here. Check still happens, and queen swaps, which is not the right idea. Queen swapping here, I think, messes him up. Mainly because they're still equal on material, but, well, other than the fact that it's a bishop for rook and a few extra pawns, it's just that queen was more useful than white's queen. And now, as you can see, just giving up pawns he's trying to promote wasn't the right idea again. Get a few trades, that's not the smartest trade either, because they can take with check. And now, you can just go check again, and king can't come here, because it is going to be check, it's just actually going to be mate as well. I was trying to actually say you can win that, and it's going to be mate. So, let's re-go through this game. Now, Sicilian straight away, known to be when you see the Sicilian, it's a very tactical game, as you saw. Now, this is a very difficult opening as well, because this one is actually a really in-depth line with g4 and h4. I couldn't tell you the name of what it is, but I'm very surprised in this position. If I'm just, I didn't know the Sicilian, for example, I would say, why can't you just take this, to be honest? Because, you just take it back, it doesn't look that good. Which you kind of can, but I feel like it gives them a bit more of a tempo, I would say. So, I mean, again, Rook G1, it feels a bit weird to be to the, average chess player. But when you see these later on, they actually are used for something quite good. So I think that was the first mistake, not the best. I do like the idea of queenside castling. Very surprised we didn't get Rook E1 earlier, to be honest. I know we can get there because of this attack, but, after all of this, I felt that, like, here, can you not play Rook E1? I guess you could castle then, because this wouldn't work because you got this, so maybe not. This move stops the casting, and I was expecting that, and then you could do this. But then again, you might casting later. I think this move here, I think this was a real changing point. B4. If you didn't find B4, I feel like there could have been a lot of trouble. Because even B3 is not that good, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, B3 actually isn't good. And I think it's because it actually opens up these squares quite easily. So this wasn't the best move. It's not really doing anything. He actually does sacrifice it he actually does sacrifice the exchange. So, and then after Rook E1, King moves, and then we got this lovely C4. Probably the best move, I think, out of the whole game. This was very good, as this made kind of that swap off, and he was up really by the end of this. That was definitely the real mistake. I think this was a good move, because if he goes back here, you can take here. Well, you can't take that check, but you could maybe, no, you can't really queen check there. Okay, they're saying check. Then I'd be very surprised you can't just block now. I'm just trying to see what the ideas are. See now, okay, now they're saying go back because it's attacking this, and now they have to move like here. I don't know. I'm just saying, for example, and then yeah, okay. So it's not like the best thing. They have to be a very, very minute details there for white to be up in that position. That's a very difficult position to be up in, and also for black to be up in. So yeah, I mean, this here is a very easy position now. I feel like for white, I feel like this would have been the only trouble, but Spassky went completely away from it. Really, he gave up this pawn and then realised, oh, I need to put my rook in a completely different square. And the reason for that being, if you try to push again, you could just go check twice here, and there's that. You might be able to say that technically you can play this, because after check you can block, but it's still not good at all. This is massively, there is actually makers of this. And then if you have something like this, there's always stuff on the board. So that is it for today's game. I think what you can take away from that is how in-depth, if you like the Sicilian, take that as a really in-depth opening. Look for those, like, in between moves, how can I say, those moves that stop most things, like F4 here, or even like the funny move here, Queen F6, very good tactic there, but doesn't really work. But it's very good to find those things. It's also good to make sure you understand where your rooks are going before you do any sacrifices here, because as we saw, this wasn't the best sacrifice here. So I feel like after this, it was quite a lost game for black. But yeah, I think that's what you can take away from it. So that was Karpov versus Spassky. Karpov winning. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. So thank you, and bye bye.